Welcome to Watercolour Splashes. I'm Lorraine Brown and my artist life is all about watercolour. There is never just one way to paint. In Watercolour Splashes I will show you what works for me, with tips, techniques and experiments that you can try for yourself. Be inspired. Let's watercolour splash. I bought this lovely orchid in from my garden yesterday. It was hiding in a dark spot. I didn't realise how many beautiful blooms it had, but it's in my studio now and I'm inspired to see if I can create a painting. When I look for the colours that I'm going to use for this, I realise it's not that different to the peonies that I painted last week. And I have my colour reference chart for that here already, so I could possibly look at whether these are going to work for this orchid, or I might just have to make a couple of little changes. Some really interesting dark on these. My colour choices that I made was on a piece of Saunders Waterford paper. That's the standard colour, which is slightly off-white. It was on the back of a painting, so that was just my colour choice study. However, when I painted my peonies a week ago, I did actually paint it on high white paper. Here's the difference. This is high white. This is the standard colour. When I'm painting a white subject, I often choose the high white paper because there's a lot of white to be left. I know it's going to look lovely and fresh. And I think probably I'm going to use that when I paint these orchids. But now I'm just going to have a little look and see if the colours that I picked out on this testing here is going to work. I've got the orchid in front of me, but it's really hard to get close up to have a look at the colours on the bloom, so I've printed a photo out. That hasn't come out particularly well, but I can see already that I need something that's going to make me a lovely dark for this area of the bloom here. And so I already knew that I probably would go into Alizarin Crimson for that, and that's not on here. So I do need to work out again what it is I'm going to use. Alizarin Crimson on its own is not particularly dark, but mixed with this lovely blue here. Let's have a little look here with this phthalo blue shade. If I mix those two together, need to be fairly dark with this. I'm going to get something as dark as that. Now that's still not right. So this is why it's always best to work on this first than to have committed to a painting and you don't like the colour choices you've made. So maybe all it needed was more red in it. That's more like it. So here I now have Alizarin Crimson and a phthalo blue. This happens to be Winsor blue green shade, but phthalo blue will do the same thing. So that's how I'm going to get that dark on there. So I don't have either of those colours over here. So far I'm not really going to be using that chart by the looks of it. But I do love that shadow green colour. And whilst these strappy leaves are not overly dark, it does make a lovely green shadow colour. I guess that's why it's called shadow green. That's the Holbein. So if I actually used that with the green gold, what am I going to get here? I'm going to get enough variety in my greens there. And of course I can always blue it up with using the phthalo colour there. That will work. So I've got my green sorted. I've got my dark sorted. The shadow for the white flowers I'm going to be able to get from a combination of these. So I could just take a really watery mix of those two that made up the dark. I could do it in a really watery mix, and I've got a lovely shadow colour there. So far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 colours. I'm looking now to see if I'm going to need a yellow, and I think I'm going to have to look really closely at one of the blooms. So when I look, they have this little tiny part here. I think you could almost render that with just a hint of the green gold, because green gold used very, very lightly or very watered down can read yellow. So I think that would work very well for me, using that for this little part here. So still just the 4 colours. I'm going to try that. Now, of course, I can change my mind as I get going. That's exactly what you're allowed to do. But for now, if I look at all these colours here, diluted, strong, I've got a lot of variety here. So I think I'm going to settle on this palette here for now, and we'll just see what happens. Now that I've made my choices of using the high white paper, my colours are sorted, I have my lovely inspiration, I'm all ready to create a painting. I'm going to be working in an intuitive way, which means I need to concentrate on what I'm doing, work with the washes as they're happening, make my choices without having pre-planned too much of it. So on that basis, I really do need to be painting and not trying to talk at the same time. So sit back and watch me create in my intuitive manner to create a painting. If you let your colours from your first wash dry naturally and not with a hairdryer, the whole time there's damp paper there, those colours are still playing, and they're making marks and they're making other shades of colour that's happening there just by the fact that the pigment is travelling and drying in different ways on the paper. So you leave it alone, and then when it's fully dry, you have a look at what marks you've got, what you could perhaps even just leave as it is because it's made interesting texture or expressive marks there. What other painting you've got to do on the top when it's dry. So my next stage of painting would be to try and do something with the flowers, and this will probably be done on dry paper. Well, I've had a look at my drying wash. I've had one quick look at what I'm going to do with this area that I've left for the white blooms. The drawing that I did has sat here for a couple of days because I haven't been able to get back to this painting, and I can't make any sense whatsoever of what I've drawn up here, so I may just will have not done any drawing at all, so I've rubbed that out. I've had one little play in the last 5 minutes just seeing if I'm going to be able to turn this into an orchid bloom here, and it's a little bit funny the shape I've got there, so I've got a bit of work to do. My orchid plant is on my table. You can just see the strappy leaves from it here. It's not close enough up to see what I'm doing with the bloom. So I've taken one from the bottom. This was a bit of a, not a very good looking bloom, so it's not missed off of the beautiful plant. And I can use this to at least be a little bit closer to see what it is that I'm going to do. This one has got lots of brown all around the white petals here, which just means that it was sitting down in a dark spot and it's got a bit of lack of light there. So I'm obviously not going to paint all those dark marks on there, but I've got the idea to see what this little bit looks like. Now this is going to be a loose painting, and so these are not going to be botanical done, but I still want them to read like an orchid. This particular one's not the shape that's up there, but it's just giving me an idea. If this doesn't turn out today, having left it for 2 days and now trying to feel the love for it, it's still good painting practice, so it doesn't matter whether things turn out brilliantly. You just keep painting. You just got to keep painting. So I'm just going to creep in round the edges of some of these funny drawn shapes that I did have, just to see if it's even going to end up looking anything like an orchid. So I've got to redo some of these. So I think if you're going to do a drawing, you might as well do a good drawing, or don't do any drawing at all and just go straight in with your paintbrush, because if you do a really bad drawing like I've done, you end up with something really, really funny. Like this bit down here. I hate that shape there, and this one here. So I might make those look like they've got more background over them, then perhaps it won't really matter. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this together or not. I might have bitten off a bit more than I can chew with this one, but let's just see. So I'm going to go in now with this dark for the little tongue that's on these. And perhaps if I start with those, maybe that will give me an idea what to do here. So let's put another one down here. So I want something, one coming in down there, one up there, one over there, that bit there. So a little bit of colour here, a little bit of colour down here. If it's looking a little bit purple or too purple, just add a bit more of, it's got a bit more of the alizarin in it. nice little light tone for this little bit that sits up over here. I might have to just let that dry before I put the bit under it. I'm going to just soften these little shapes here. I think they are looking a little bit dark. I might add a wee bit more red to it. A little bit coming down in there. I'll just leave that alone for a minute. So on the outside petals, I have to use the background paint to be able to reshape these, which was the grey mixed up from the blue and the red. I might have even had a touch of the green in there. I could put a strappy leaf over this, which would help change the shape of that. When you paint in this manner, and you're not really relying on a drawing, you are making a lot of it up. It's good to do it and carry on doing it. Stopping and starting, you've just lost where you were even going to go with it. So I'm just almost like I'm having to start again and feel my way with this. Might help. Let's put one up over there. I'll just keep working my way round. Just seeing what I've got. As I say, if it doesn't work out, it's always tomorrow. It might help me disguise a few of the funny shapes I've got going at the back. So let's have a look and see if we can get something going in here. So a bit more of the background colour could go up in there. If you can't find your way doing it like this, just draw the blooms and just do a better job of drawing them than I've done. I've got to find my way around here. And as I say, it's not been a good idea to have stopped. So what I think I might do is perhaps just put this back onto a bit of quiet for me, not having to speak, and just see if I'm even going to be able to do this. See whether I can get something that I feel like I've achieved. Something that looks like the White Orchid blooms. This paper, as I said, I've painted on high white paper. It's incredibly white. So I know these blooms can have some colour on them. That will be fine. Okay, so it's looking pretty rough and ready right now. So let me just stop talking and just see if I can pull this together at all. orchid painting has given me all sorts of grief, and it's because I didn't do a particularly good drawing of the blooms, and they were certainly trickier to paint than what I thought they were going to be. But you never give up. You just push something as far as you can before you decide it's a lost cause, because the whole time you're pushing, you're trying to find ways to resolve things. When paintings come out brilliantly and very easily, you tend to not learn much, and you certainly don't remember why they came out so easily, but you do remember the ones that give you a bit of a struggle. So I think you need the ones with the struggle to help you improve. And so I haven't given up on this. I've mixed some darks, still out of that same range of colours. I've mixed the green gold with some of the alizarin crimson, and got a bit of a brown colour here. This can be a lot of the dead looking bits that I can see on the bottom of the plant. I really can do absolutely zero with the blooms. What I've got there is what I've got. But I've had a great deal of fun trying to do something with the background, and feel like it's not been a total waste of time, because I've had a bit of fun moving my brushes around, watching the lovely pigments do its thing, and I haven't given up. So that would be my advice to anyone. Don't give up. Don't give up. Use these as your learning thing and just see where you can take it. Doesn't mean to say it's ever going to be any good at the end, but you've given it a shot and tried to learn something from it. So that's my exercise on this. So this is just going to be a little bit of a study and a little bit of chance just to push some paint around and hope for better luck with the next one. So I may well leave it there. I think if I add any more to it, I'm just getting muckier and muckier. I feel like I've captured the essence of a orchid plant, but certainly not a particularly good depiction of the blooms, basically. But anyway, that's what we've got. So until next time, bye.